Hi, good folks. It is Friday, and I'm Jack O'Malley. This is the old update for you on a on a Friday. Oops, there goes the cat. I'll slide in a little closer then. Last weekend of February, talked to some folks who from downstate who are coming up to go skiing and fishing. It looks like it's going to be a nice weekend. The conditions are still good. Maybe not for ice fishing, but conditions are still good. Temperatures, though, are going to be warm tomorrow, Saturday, so it looks good. Hey, I just want to, again, touch base with you on the passing scene. And, oh gosh, I don't know, a couple things. One, the budget is still out there. The Senate is working on some things. They're going to send it to us. I still hear, as I predicted, the administration is saying, oh, we're withholding this money, or we're withholding that. Oh, we're going to lose all this federal money. We're not. Again, so one of the thoughts is why appropriate it all at one time. Now you got a lot of money out there that could get, maybe thrown around and a little bit wasted. I go back to the earlier pandemic, and I heard from a lot of business folks who said, when they got the PPP, the payroll protection thing, that, it had to be used within X amount of weeks. And so they did, but the pandemic and their lockdown was still continuing. They would have rationed it a little differently if they'd have known. So I think in many ways it's the prudent thing to say, okay, we've got, X billion dollars from the federal government. Let's put this much out for now, and we can put out more later. I guess it's just two schools of thought, and I'm in the one that says, let's be smart about this. What else have we got here? I continue to get comments and concerns, and I understand why. People who want to know that we have election integrity moving forward. And then I hear from people who say, well, the election was just perfect and just fine, and why are you even talking about this? Well, the reason is, again, I'm not going to talk national. I'm just going to talk state of Michigan, right? Because that's where I'm a representative. Can't talk about Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona. Can't talk about it. I'm going to talk about Michigan. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Our Secretary of State helped sow confusion and doubt when she started mailing out those applications to everybody. And, people worry about voter fraud. And when people were getting, and I've had people say, you want me to send them to you? I still got them. Uncle Charlie gets 3 applications, and Uncle Charlie's been dead for decades. It's like, what? So that worries people. All right. And we have had some, comments here or there. There's questions about computers. We have to look at it. Whether you like it or not, there are a lot of people who are concerned. And I think rightfully so. So when we get this, well, the election was perfectly fine. I get it. I understand where all of this is coming from. So I will say it. No, I don't think the election was stolen. But I do think there are a lot of legitimate worries and concerns about how things were done, especially since the no excuse absentee balloting, this was our first time through, and our Secretary of State really didn't do a very good job of keeping people's concerns down. She did just the opposite. So I think we now have to make sure that we have legislation in place that says this is how we're supposed to do things, and we find out where the issues are. Now, the reason I bring this back up again is because people have been asking me. And on February 1st, I did an interview on this very little update with the chair of our Elections and Ethics Committee, Ann Boland. And I think in the next couple of days here, Monday, Tuesday, or Monday, Wednesday, something like the week, I'm going to replay that interview, because I know that not everybody watches on every given day. Now, they should, but they don't. And I think that she did a great job explaining. the reason I thought of this was I chatted with a thing today with a gentleman who said, well, what are you going to do about it? And I said, well, I can't tell you what we're going to do about it. I'm telling you how we're going to go about it. And Ann sets it up. She's got a committee. Her committee is already looking at questions and that sort of thing. So I think I'm going to replay it so that, again, so people understand that there's nothing we can do like that. We have to go through hearings. We have to look at all the issues, and see what needs fixing and how. Okay? So that's already begun. And I think I'll replay that interview from February 1, or you can go back and look at it. But be on the lookout for that. All right, I want to talk about something else. I was surprised. The Michigan Restaurant and Lodging Association put out an infograph, and it's on this page. Just scroll back a little bit. It's the Great Lakes states, and there's Michigan, Upper and Lower Peninsulas in red, and then the other states, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, in gray. And it says, each one of them basically said, the only restrictions are 6 feet separation, must wear masks. And each state had a county, generally the biggest county in the state, that did have a lower restriction. But everybody's open. And then there's Michigan, 25%. So my question was, what science and data is Michigan hiding that the other states don't have? Are we more fragile than somebody from the Badger State or the Hoosier State or the Buckeye State or the Land of Lincoln? I don't think so. So the question is, and that infograph got shared a bazillion times. And I think it's great because it really points out the folly that is our governor's approach. And here's what I want to explain. Now, again, I know there's an old term, preaching to the choir. I don't want to preach to the choir. I want to talk and maybe inform and shift opinion from people. So if you're like, Jack, I know this already. What the heck are you talking about it? I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to that person who doesn't get it. Or actually, maybe I am talking to you, those in the choir. Because what I've seen generally from the choir is when anything about the governor comes up, their eyebrows go up, their blood pressure goes up, and they start. That isn't a real good way to win over people. Just going to be honest with you. What hopefully does is that person at work who says, oh, the governor's doing a great job. Don't go, you need to say, well, now, wait a minute here. Let's talk this through. So that's what I'm going to try and do here briefly, because I don't want to spend forever on it. But I want to start, again, continuing that dialogue with that person who thinks the governor is just doing everything great. Look at that infograph. What do those 4 states not know? Why is our state restricted to 25%? Why was our state the only one not allowing high school athletes to participate? Because that was the truth. So we are Michigan is we're outliers. And I'm going to explain why I believe that is. I talked about it once before. I think there's just that over-reliance on the medical opinion. I'm not saying you disregard it, but I believe that it is a governor's role, a representative's role, to listen and come up with what makes sense in balance. You don't listen to one side completely. You can't. Our job is to find that compromise. And I know to some compromise is a dirty word, but even with our response to COVID, there should have been compromise, or the word I like to use, balance. Yes, we have an illness, but yes, we have all these other people, nursing home isolation, suicide, school children who are going to be dumb as a box of rocks. And the list goes on and on, right? So look at that infograph. What is wrong with these 4 states? And most of the rest of the country. But there's Michigan. Do we know more than someone else? Are we softer than the rest of the country? No. Our problem is our governor and her administration want all of the authority. They don't like to share. And I will tell you, that is the God-honest truth. Again, I'm not talking to the choir. I'm talking to the people in the middle. It's the God-honest truth. I have had several instances that have made that crystal clear to me this week when talking to people in the administration about things. They do not want to give up administrative power and influence. And in co-equal branches of government, that's wrong. We need to have compromise. So as we move forward in this, I'm going to keep bringing this up. And again, for those in the choir, I want you to think about how you approach those who might not agree with you and think our governor is just doing it great. Because we have to convince those people. And I think if we can get more people, because here's the other thing. People in the choir look around and they think, well, everybody agrees with me. Let me tell you, there are people in this state who think I am a horse's patoot and 100% wrong. People in my district who think the governor is just the cat's meow and it is great. And I'm terrible for even trying to compromise with her. So this is where we're at. We have to win over the public thought process because I do believe the governor will listen if she sees she's losing in the polls. And right now she's not. And that's the political animal that is our governor. And we need to understand that she wants, and her administration, and when I say that, all the people that work under her, they don't want to give the legislature anything because they believe they can do it and do it better. And here's the real problem, and I'll leave you with this. If you do everything with administrative authority, things need to be set in statute. Things need to be done through the legislature. It's deliberative, it's thoughtful, and it's then set in stone because it's law. And groups and organizations and departments have to do things. Administrative rule is a little wishier and a little washier. All right? Something to think about on this last weekend in February. Again, I think I'll replay that interview one day next week, but I'll let you know when it's coming. Have a good weekend, everybody.